day. It's a blessing to play football. I'm ready to go.
Jet up, baby. Good to be in green and white.
You don't get no better than this, man. Hey, tune in. We about to put on the show.
Good evening and welcome to Pregame Centrals, presented by Pepsi. I'm Olivia Landis, joined by Eric Allen here at First Energy Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio, where the New York Jets are taking on the Cleveland Browns. EA, this is Game 3 in 11 days. This officially wraps up the Jets' very long stretch of games in such a short period of time. And the last time the Jets had a road win, it was against the Cleveland Browns last year, their one and only road win of the season.
First time, Olivia, we're here in Cleveland in 2018, but I feel like I'm here every year. The Jets have been in Cleveland 3 consecutive years. Like you mentioned before, the Jets had only one road victory in 2017. If they win tonight against the Browns, they will have already surpassed their win total away from home last year. Of course, they started out opening night in Detroit with a 48-17 win over the Lions. Last week they came home in the home opener against the Dolphins, couldn't come back after facing a 20-point deficit. The final score there was 20-12, and this completes a grueling stretch to start the season for the green and white. 3 games in 11 days. They've had just a couple days to prepare for a very much improved Cleveland Browns team.
EA, this is the 3rd overall start of his entire career for quarterback Sam Darnold. And something that is extremely interesting about Sam Darnold, he's made a little bit of history so far in the NFL. When he started against the Detroit Lions, he was the youngest quarterback in NFL history to start a season opener. And then just last week, one of the youngest quarterbacks to throw for over 300 yards in a game.
Yeah, he was the youngest quarterback to throw for that total, over 300 yards against the Miami Dolphins. Like you said, he's doing all this at 21 years of age. He'll make his 3rd consecutive start for the Jets tonight. He continues to impress. He's completing about 66% of his passes in the early going, showcasing that athleticism. He can beat you from the pocket. But Olivia, where I think he really excels is he's an instinctive player with great vision. He can get out of the pocket and make plays on the move. Good start so far. He's going to have to protect the football tonight. 3 touchdown passes and all over the first 2 games, 3 interceptions. You got to protect the ball against the Browns.
And last week, Sam Darnold did mention how, yeah, I had 2 interceptions last week against the Miami Dolphins. He said, but besides that, I think I did a fairly good job. And he's a guy that really bounces back well and learns from his mistakes. And he talked about that last week with our Bob with Shoes and how, there's not much I can do. I just have to get back into the game and get back at it.
Yeah, he's going to get back at it tonight. He talked about Greg Williams' defense today. He said, listen, they're going to throw some things at you that you've never seen before, and they're going to come out there with a lot of fire tonight. In fact, I bet you Greg Williams was trying to blitz him in the locker room, Olivia, but he'll be ready. He's a guy who's unfazed, a flatliner. The Jets love that about him. He's very competitive, working very well early, and just another challenge against an opportunistic Browns defense that features another premier pass rusher after the Jets saw Cameron Wake and Robert Quinn last week. They'll see Myles Garrett, a former number 1 overall selection himself. He's a freak.
So EA, speaking of Sam, let's dive into who your matchup is to watch. The matchup to watch of the game. I already know you got someone in mind. Let's talk about who it is.
It's Darnold against this attacking defense. The last 2 games they played against future Hall of Famers in Ben Roethlisberger and Drew Brees. At this stadium a couple weeks ago in the opener for both teams, the Browns and the Steelers, they had 5 interceptions of Roethlisberger. Last week in New Orleans, they neutralized Brees for most of the afternoon. They have put this team in position to win. Darnold's out there getting warmed up right now.
That's live right now.
Yeah, listen, he has to play a composed football game. He's got to protect the football. He's just got to be him. and the Jets coaching staff and the Jets players, they expect him to be him. He's the guy who, they've always said it from day one, when the lights are brighter, he plays better. I think Sam Darnold will come to play. And oh, by the way, protection breaks down. Who else would you rather have than Sam Darnold out there, because he can break the pocket and get outside the edge. But I think the Jets have to help Darnold out this week by having a balanced attack offensively. We saw the run game really at its best in week 1 against the Detroit Lions. 169 yards on the ground. Isaiah Crowell, I know we'll talk about him later. He'll be ready to go against his former team, and Bilal Powell as well. Last week, the Jets weren't able to get that run game going early. They have an opportunity to do that here Thursday night.
Another part of that matchup that you mentioned was this Browns defense. Myles Garrett, like you said, the #1 overall pick for the Browns in 2017. Not to mention Larry Ogunjobi, who's going to, two very elite pass rushers that Sam is going to have to face off. So it's going to be a big task for that Jets offensive line to help Sam Darnold out tonight.
Yeah, Ogunjobi's got 3 sacks on the year. He actually leads the Browns. And this Browns defense, those linebackers, I think a lot of people got an opportunity to see on Hard Knocks, guys like Christian Kirksey, Joe Schobert. They can get all over the field. Good movement guys, aggressive. And then the secondary, like I said before, bolstered by the addition of Denzel Ward, a speedy guy who came in his first NFL action. And oh, by the way, comes in and he gets 2 interceptions. Last week, I think, was just as an impressive performance as week 1 for the Browns, because they went into Drew Brees' home and they gave this Browns team every opportunity to win on the road.
Another interesting note about this Browns defense is they currently lead the NFL in takeaways. And guess who's second? Right behind them is this Jets defense. So not only are they really rushing the passer, but they are on the ball when it comes to defensive takeaways.
Yeah, 8 takeaways in all. You're averaging 4 a game. And then you think about the Jets, of course. They had the 5 takeaways against the Miami Dolphins. So they're second in the National Football League after coming up with a pair of fumble recoveries last week against the Dolphins. The 5 takeaways against the Lions, of course, came in week 1. So who is going to protect the football better this week in week 3? To me, that ultimately is going to determine a winner.
That's going to be a large challenge. All right, coming up, we have Cleveland.com's Mary Kay Cabot joining us. But before we do that, we're going to toss to Todd Bowles really quickly, who talked this week about overcoming this gruesome 3 games in 11 days, and also talked about this Browns defense.
But how challenging is 3 games in 11 days for anybody?
It's challenging. I think it's more taxing for the players and having their bodies recover and everything else. But we knew it was on the schedule for a long time now, so we tried to prepare and do the things that we had to do to get ready for it.
Sam indicated, I think that Sunday night he even rewatched the Miami game back. Everything was just so condensed for him. How did he know how to navigate this week?
Well, it's football. I mean, he knows what he knows in our system, and our guys know what they know on the offensive side of the ball as well as the defensive side of the ball. And you get rules that you have, and you have things that you do normally. You have some things that you tweak, and we go along with that. And as you get repetitions in practice, he'll be fine.
How unique is Tyrod Taylor among the quarterbacks you guys typically face on a weekly basis in terms of the challenges that we face?
It's a big challenge because he runs faster than most of the quarterbacks we face. I mean, all of them can scramble, but he's an elite runner, and he's very accurate on the deep ball. He's one of the best dual threats in the league. And some of them can throw, some of them can run and throw on the run and be good in the pocket. He can hurt you with his legs, and he can hurt you with his deep balls. And because of his intelligence, he doesn't turn the ball over, so it's going to be tough.
He's giving you guys trouble at times when he was in Buffalo. What lessons did you take from him?
I don't know about lessons, but, we try to do a better job trying to slow him down more. That's about it.
Welcome back to Pregame Central, presented by Pepsi. Olivia Landis and Eric Allen, now joined by Cleveland.com's Mary Kay Cabot. Thank you so much for joining us today, Mary Kay.
Thanks for having me.
All right, you want to start it off?
Oh, sure. Hey, what do you think the atmosphere is going to be here tonight at First Energy. You've been covering the Browns for a long time, and this is a team that very easily could be 2-0, and a lot of the nation's been following them after Hard Knocks this summer, and the short week, and here we are, second home game. What do you think? Is it going to be electric? Because Terrell Pryor was just running by here, the former Brown. He said, listen, the dog pound, it's going to be electric tonight.
Yes, it really is going to be electric. You guys will see a little bit of what it's all about. The dog pound, Cleveland Browns mania going on right now. This defense, if it gets rolling the way it has in the first 2 games with 8 takeaways, this place will be on fire. Of course, Sam Darnold coming into town. There's a lot of people in these stands that wanted the Cleveland Browns to draft Sam Darnold, so that adds a lot of excitement to this game.
A lot of intrigue.
Yes, a lot of intrigues. Well, speaking of that, what is it like to now see Sam Darnold in a Jets uniform and not a Cleveland Browns uniform when that opportunity was right there?
Well, you know, again, I'm sure there are a lot of fans here that are hoping that he doesn't play that well tonight, because I think a lot of them are disappointed that he's not in a Cleveland Browns uniform. But I think fans are starting to warm up to the idea of Baker Mayfield. People are starting to get excited. He looked good in preseason. Boy, would it be exciting tonight if it was Baker versus Sam? I mean, that would really be one for the ratings, I would think.
All right, so how has Tyrod Taylor looked in his first 2 games? Jets fans very familiar with him. Actually, the last time the Green and White played him, they had a lot of success. He took him down 7 times in all. But they know what a threat he is. He protects that football, and he's also a guy who is looking to get his long shots if he can escape that pocket.
Yeah, you know what? The thing about Tyrod, I think he really has to play well tonight so that they can kind of keep Baker Mayfield mania at bay. I think he's got to go out here. He's got to score some points. The Browns have had 8 takeaways. They only have 10 points off of those 8 takeaways. That's not going to cut it. If they just had a few more than that, they would have 2 victories right now. So he's got to get it rolling with his skill players.
So Ross Tucker said he talked to you very recently, and he went to Twitter. He told the world about it. He said, basically, your feelings are we all should be on Baker Mayfield watch.
Well, I think my point there is tonight, if things don't go well with Tyrod, I think that the Browns will start to think about Baker after this game. And that's way earlier than they wanted to, but they've got 10 days after this game before they have to go out to Oakland. So Tyrod's got to play well tonight. And not only does he have to play well, I really think he has to win the game to keep Baker Mayfield mania down.
So Tyrod Taylor has been sacked multiple times so far in the first 2 games of the season. How can the Jets take advantage of this Browns offensive line and really get to the quarterback, possibly causing trouble for Tyrod Taylor?
Well, you know, they have a new left tackle. Of course, everyone knows that they had the wonderful Hall of Fame left tackle in Joe Thomas. Now they've got an undrafted rookie at left tackle in Desmond Harrison. It's not that he's playing horribly. It's just that that's a place where I think a lot of teams can identify the left side of the line as a place where you can try to see if you can get there. So that's one of the things. The thing about Tyrod, though, is he's mobile enough to get out of trouble. Mm-hmm. So he can run away from that a little bit, but there are a few protection issues going on right now.
Something funny, actually, defensive lineman Henry Anderson talked about how mobile Tyrod Taylor is, and how if, they have to keep him in the pocket, and if he's able to escape, he could be a real threat.
Yes, he definitely can. In the first game, he had 77 yards rushing. He was the leading Browns rusher in that game. So
impressive.
He definitely can extend the play. And I don't know if you guys got a chance to watch the amazing touchdown pass that he had last week against the Saints. They should have won that game. They didn't win that game because of their kicker. Their kicker missed 2 field goals, 2 extra points.
And he's no longer here.
He's no longer here. Now they've got an undrafted rookie at kicker, so that should be exciting tonight.
So Mary Kay, a great transition, because what I want to ask you about is we know the Browns are going to try to establish a physical identity. They got Carlos Hyde in here. You mentioned so far they've had difficulty getting the run game going. Hyde's only averaging about 2.8 yards a carry, but Tyrod has over 100 yards rushing. What is happening on the outside, though? Josh Gordon is a Patriot. Jets fans aren't really happy about that. that means Antonio Callaway, a guy I liked a lot coming out of Florida, I would imagine he's got to step up, and Rashard Higgins as well.
Yes.
What can you tell us about
Colorado
those
State.
two guys?
Yes. So what they have to have happen tonight is Antonio Callaway does have to put on the big boy pants. He just does. He really does. I mean, he's stepping up now for Josh Gordon. Those are big, big shoes to fill. We're talking about a young man in Antonio Callaway who sat out all of last year of football. No football for him at Florida. He was suspended. Then you've got Jarvis Landry coming in here this game. He's questionable. Now, he will play the game tonight, but he's questionable with a knee injury, so that's something to watch. You've got Duke Johnson. Hugh Jackson says he wants to get the ball more to Duke Johnson. I think that's a smart choice. And again, Rashard Higgins is somebody to watch out for.
Can I flip to the defensive side of the ball?
Absolutely.
And we talked about it a little bit before, the takeaways, they stand out. What about the personnel, though? Beyond Myles Garrett, who does Jets Nation got to keep their eye on tonight?
Well, one of the guys you should look for is Larry Ogunjobi, a defensive tackle who had 2 sacks last week. Because Myles drew some extra attention, it opened things up for Larry. He would have had 3 sacks had one of them not been wiped out by a penalty. So he's somebody to watch. But those secondary guys, Terrence Mitchell, keep your eyes on Terrence Mitchell tonight. He's loaded for bear. He's coming to take the ball away from you, and he's been doing a good job of that lately.
So I reported earlier that Greg Williams was blitzing Sam Darnold as soon as he got off the bus. Is that true?
Absolutely. They're going to come from different places. They're going to do anything they can to try to confuse him. They're going to try to intercept him. That's what this team does. They go for the ball. They attack the ball. Denzel Ward, their number 4 overall pick, had 2 interceptions in the first game off of Ben Roethlisberger. So you know that these guys are going to be looking to pick off the ball.
All right, overall, so you talked about some defensive players that might stand out. But overall, who are you very excited to see in this Browns and Jets game tonight?
Well, on both sides of the ball, I mean, I think I'm really interested to see how Sam Darnold plays against the Cleveland Browns. He said this week, it's, this doesn't have any extra meaning to him. I never believe guys when they say that. They passed on him out. They passed on him at number 1 overall.
Yep.
So that's something to watch tonight, I think, for everyone. Another thing, Terrell Pryor. Yeah. He wanted to re-sign with the Cleveland Browns. He loves it here. Mm-hmm. This feels like home to him. So he wanted to be back here. It didn't work out. Yeah. He's going to be playing with a chip on his shoulder tonight. Same thing with Isaiah Crowell. He was basically told he wasn't wanted by the Cleveland Browns, and he's going to run with a little bit of extra vigor tonight.
Well, thank you so much again to Cleveland.com's Mary Kay. We really appreciate you coming on the show with your thoughtful insight. But it is now time for the Pepsi Fan of the Game. And we found our Pepsi Fan of the Game, and their name this week is Shane Christie. We'll be highlighting different fans each week, so download the official New York Jets mobile app and watch the show Pregame Central before every Jets game, home and away, for a chance for you to be our next Pepsi Fan of the Game. So congratulations one more time to Shane Christie, this week's Pepsi Fan of the Game. All right, once again, you are watching Pregame Central, presented by Pepsi. Olivia Landis and Eric Allen here. So a lot of great insight from Mary Kay. Very, very thoughtful and intelligent woman on the Cleveland Browns. Now I want to jump to...
She knows the Browns better than anybody.
Better than anybody. Better than anybody. Now I want to quickly jump to some two players that Mary Kay mentioned, and that was Isaiah Crowell and Terrell Pryor. Isaiah Crowell spent 4 years with the Cleveland Browns, and Terrell Pryor back in 2016. He actually spoke with Terrell Pryor last week, and he talked about how something that to really watch out for is the dog pound. He said when they get hyped out here in this stadium, it creates a lot of trouble for the opposing team.
There are former Browns everywhere. We just saw a shot at Buster Screen getting warmed up out here tonight. And by the way, it's really warm. Josh McCown, a former Cleveland Brown quarterback. I mean, McCown's played everywhere in his NFL career. Terrell Pryor, he's second on the Jets this season with 7 receptions. And he talked to you this week, Olivia, about running more violently, becoming more of a violent football player. He said the chemistry is going well with Sam Darnold. He's taking positive steps in that direction. He is a guy who has a great speed, size combination. He's tall, he can box you out, he can get up on you in a hurry. Isaiah Crowell, He's been impressive. Hit over 100 yards rushing in week 1 against the Detroit Lions. He's got good vision, explosion through the hole, underrated hands as well. These are 2 guys who are going to help the Jets offense big time in 2018. I really like that combination, Isaiah Crowell and Bilal Powell in the backfield. But yeah, Pryor's definitely ready to come back here to Cleveland. As Mary Kay said, he loved it here. In 2016, Terrell Pryor had 1,007 yards receiving when he broke out.
All right, EA, it is now that time of the show for your fearless predictions. Give it to us straight.
I'm gonna jump off a point that Mary Kay just made. They're starting a rookie at left tackle, the Cleveland Browns. The Jets pass rush really got going against Miami Dolphins, 4 sacks in all. Tyrod Taylor, I should say, has been sacked 10 times in 2 games. Hold on to the football. I think the Jets are going to have 3 or more sacks tonight on Thursday Night Football. And I'm going to give you a bonus prediction for you. The Jets or the Browns, whoever wins in the turnover department tonight, will go home a winner. The Jets want this game bad, Olivia. They're finishing a critical stretch. You can go to 2-1, feel pretty good about yourself, surpass your road total from a year ago, and then get 10 days to prepare for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Conversely, the Browns have been in each game they have played so far this season. They think tonight is their night. We're about to find out.
All right, so Jets versus Browns out here in Cleveland, Ohio. Jets looking for their their second road game of the season, and if they snag it, that will be already surpassing their road game wins from last year. But that's it for me and Eric Allen on Pregame Central, presented by Pepsi. If you want more coverage, we'll have it all for you after and during the game. Be sure to visit NewYorkJets.com. We'll see you soon.